welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as my friends at yarnspirations.com. Today I'm going to introduce you to the whip stitching. It's my favorite stitching for joining things together. So people message me and they say, Michael, I hate the sewing. You know, can you just do one piece stuff? I'm like, not everything can be done with one piece. We'd like to imagine we live in make-believe, but it doesn't always happen that way. The way that I visualize sewing things together means all the hard work's already done. You were just doing the final touches. So I find the sewing gives me a lot of satisfaction because I know that most of the hard work is behind me. Even at weaving in the tails, you know, big deal. You know, throw on the television, put on some Harry Potter, you're good to go. So I've been watching the series all over again. So I'm going to show you how to do the whip stitching. We're going to join this together, and when I show you this, I'm going to show you doing it on the back loop so that it becomes an invisible join. Now I'm intentionally using different colors to show you where to go, but when you do the invisible join on things, it literally truly is virtually impossible to see it. So the thing about it is that you have to decide what you would like to do. So in this case, let's talk about that next. I need to take a breath. Welcome to my channel, and I'm here to inspire you, give you crochet advice, and help you along with your next project. If you enjoyed this pattern, please give me a thumbs up or even comment so I can gauge your interest. It helps me to know what to film next. So let's say I want to do an invisible join with these two. I need to either choose this blue as my sewing color or this pink. I have to choose one or the other. If I choose something that doesn't match, you are totally gonna see it, but in tutorial purposes I'm going to show you that today. But it literally is almost impossible to see it unless you're, you know, got a critical eye and you got nothing else better to do in your life and you want to judge something. So what I would like to do is show you how to do this using this idea, and I always find that it's a lot easier to start with the strand to have a slip knot on the other side and leave the strand long enough so that you can throw it through a tapestry needle at the end, but make sure that the strand is not so big that you're having to, you know, pull out like yards and yards of yarn. But you got to make sure that you have enough distance so that you can span something if you want to. So if you can do it in a one piece, it's great, but if you have to do it multiple pieces, maybe not so great, but you know, it's life tough. So I want you to throw this through the tapestry needle. Ooh, and I want you to work on the back loop only. Now when I do whip stitching, I like to go up on an angle just like you're seeing on camera. So I'm sitting right here, and I like to go into the back loop of the one piece that I'm joining to, like that, and I am going to go into the back loop of whatever I want to join. So I'm not going into both strands that make up a stitch because I want this to fall in between so that it becomes invisible. So I'm just gonna pull through, and what I want to do, see this loop that's coming up? I want to throw the tip of this through the loop and pick it up. This is going to lock that into position so that it will never come out. Okay. And what I like to do is that I go in the back loop of the very next stitch here, and I scoot underneath this strand and I pick up the back loop of this one. And what I'm doing is that when this crosses over, it's going to trap that strand into position. To do this without my hands in the way of your camera today is a miracle. Okay, so we got the first one. The first couple stitches is kind of a pain, but once you get beyond that, it's awesome. So go to the next back loop. Keep this so it scoots underneath. Is that a real word, scoot? You can leave me a message in the comments if that's a real word. So you're gonna come across and you're just gonna pull, and it's gonna trap that in a position. You see it's kind of loose. We're gonna tighten that up, so just give it a good tug. Now if this was either the blue or the pink, this would be almost impossible to see. So I'm going to go one more time underneath that starting strand and grab the other one, and I'm going to come over top. So you can technically see that I've carried that yarn, but if it's either the blue or the pink, it'll be hard to see that. I want you now just to take the strand and just pull it to the back side so you don't have to worry about it for the remaining. And all you just need to do is keep scooting under the back loop of both of them, and once in a while, don't go too far, give it a good tug and make it nice and fabulous. Are you into fabulous today? I'm totally into fabulous today, and I'm just going to join. So in patterns where they call for a flat stitch join, I prefer a whip stitch, so you'll see me substituting sometimes in these tutorial work as I'm going across. And once you get blasting on this, it's actually pretty easy, and the join always looks generally pretty good. So as you're working your way through, you can see that there's a bit of inconsistency. I'm tighter here than I was here. Just give it a good pull. Look. See, this is where you buried it, and then you would never really see that. And just continue to match. So let me give you a few secrets just in case that you decided that you missed a stitch or one of the motifs is not the right size completely because maybe you screwed up or something. So I'm gonna teach you how to cheat the system so that you can actually have things match each other as long as it's not too wrong. So usually I'm looking ahead and will the squares match each other, yes or no? And so I'm keeping an eye, and what happens is sometimes that people skip stitches and then you can end up with one is going to be shorter than the other. So let's just say that we wanted this one and we wanted to pull it closer. Okay, I'm just doing an exaggeration on here, and I want to pull this closer. What I can do, because it's an invisible join, I come back here and let me just zoom you back in. So our goal is to bring that pink so it's going to be shorter. So when I go in here, I'm gonna go into the exact same stitch I was just in for the blue, and I'm gonna advance one more stitch over here. And what this is doing, it's putting two stitches together as one. And that's going to shorten up that pink just by one stitch. And so then I would continue to go along a few more just like you would normally would do it. And if it's the invisible seam, you'll never see this, or virtually impossible unless you don't have a life or something. Is that mean? Yeah, I think I might be mean. So I look at it and I then examine the other one here, and I've exaggerated. So if it's still like out of alignment here, what I like to do is wait closer to about the halfway point to determine if that's really gonna be out of alignment. Sometimes your mood swings can change your motifs in the tension. So if it's still too long, I will still go back into the blue that I was just in, and then I will advance one more time on the pink like that, and that will literally eliminate another stitch out here. So then that will pull it even closer to the alignment. And so because it's invisible seam, just pull it nice and tight. These extra pieces that you'll have in there, that'll be one color or the other, and it'll be really hard to tell, and it's a really neat idea. So this would be how you'd whip stitch. You're gonna go all the way across, and then when you're happy with it, just weave in your ends and just finish it off with just going back and forth a total of 3 times in the work, and that's how you would do the invisible seam.